Yeah. One other thing I wanted to bring up from this poll, survey that JCC did, and that is, what is your primary source of info about local news? I don't know. You get things from a variety of sources. Some things you just hear on the street, and some things, all of that stuff, text messages and all of that. But what's interesting, again, not so much the results from this year, but the trends over years, since the year 2000 and the 7 years since then. Oh, it isn't good for radio. We are not influential here in radio. Back in 2000, about 3% of the people got their news from radio, and now it's 3.5%. We're not leaders in that regard. Now, maybe we analyze the news better, and maybe we entertain you in different ways. But as far as a primary source for local news, no. Radio has not proven itself to be a stellar performer. Syracuse Post-Standard, virtually no one reads that anymore. Now, I remember when they used to deliver it up here, and that's kind of a non-influential paper now. The Watertown Daily Times in 2000, 49% of the people viewed it as their primary source for news. Now 19% do. TV news, 26% viewed it as their primary source in 2000. Now it's 54%. And the Internet, where nobody viewed it as their primary source of news in 2000, now it's 17% view it as their primary source of news. Now, that's not just News Junkie, although he's probably the first among the many. I mean, it's any kind of news sites. People go to different things. There's all the CNNs and Foxes and NBC, all of those sites. And and indeed, the local newspaper has a website as well. So it's a little difficult to say when they say 17% Internet, although I have to think that much of that rise in the primary source thing comes during the period of News Junkie's ascendancy in local media. So I'm sure they're a big player in it. I've got to tell you, what's my biggest source of local news? Obviously, I'm closer to it because I talk to newsmakers, so a lot of it's personal knowledge represents a source of local news. But I've got to be one of those, and granted, I get things over the radio. I listen to radio news, and I watch a lot of TV for the national news. I'd have to say I get, as far as a primary thing that I check several times a day, I'd say the Internet. I follow the other things. I scan through the paper in the morning. I don't, I think there's value in diversity, that you don't want to be a tool of one media, because we know, certainly I know, that any one media can distort things one way or the other and provide a, not entirely accurate view of things. So I think if you look at the whole range of media, it's like a liberal arts education. You're better off. But I mean, just hour in and hour out, probably Internet. Just check in with that. Candidly, I love everybody at Channel 7, but I don't really catch their newscasts that often. I know a lot of people who have set schedules and they're at home at certain times are able to catch their news. I'm just not, in there. Now, again, Channel 7 has a website, which is very well done. I think our good friend Diane Rutherford puts that together for him. So, I mean, that fits into the Internet thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say other than I certainly view all of this media stuff. But the Internet is becoming increasingly important, and probably would be, if I held a gun to my head and said you've got to give an answer, I would say Internet. 755-1240, the phone number. Good afternoon, hotline.